Hello, everyone. The long-lost Grover Cleveland here, back from the dead, and you're watching Ink the Book Show, the most expensive production the internet has to offer. Say, did you know that you can follow Ryan O'Connor at Wrangleshank on Instagram, on TikTok, and on Twitter? Well, you can. And if you like his daily drawings or his work on the Bonehead comic, you can also watch the Bonehead cartoon on YouTube. The link to all these things and more can be found in the description. Furthermore, be sure to like, to share, and to subscribe to all things Wrangleshank and all things Ink the Book. Thank you.
It's time for Ink the Book Show with your host, Ryan O'Connor. And now, let's ink the book.
Hello, everybody. It's Ink the Book Show, the only art show that smells like your grandpa's house with a skull and a little bed in back. I'm Ryan O'Connor, here to draw you some pretty pictures. I'm doing the second to last page of my 250-page first graphic novel ever, called Bonehead. And this page actually has Bonehead on it. Tomorrow, I'm going to be working on penciling the last page, but I don't think I'll have it ready in time to ink. So I'll probably be doing a sketchbook stream where I just draw something where I doodle something in my sketchbook. Here, come on, people, let's ink some comics. All right, page. Well, it says 202. Who knows what the correct number is, but it's up there. It's further up there than that, I'm pretty certain. This is my Canson comic book artboard, size 11 by 17 pages I'm working on. And I'm inking with my... Here, let me get some light on the screen. This is my Winsor & Newton Series 7 Sable Kolinsky brush, size 3, and then I am inking with here, check it out, will you? Speedball Super Black India ink. Here, this if I started the book with this 32-ounce bottle, I could have done the whole comic with just this giant bottle, because I've maybe made it a third of the way through that bottle since I started using it. Let's see here. So that's all you need to make a comic. Oh, and I use mechanical pencils. I recently started using these Pentel Sharp pencils that I've been getting that on Amazon, 0.9 millimeter lead. That's how you make a comic, I guess, these days. Throw in some preposterous characters, and you've got it made. I don't know what I'm saying. Hey, I know some people who watched my the little sketch comedy thing me and my brothers made that I posted on YouTube yesterday. Some people really liked that. My friends were telling me it was a good little skit thingy. It was It's called Job Interview. It's on my YouTube channel at Wrangleshank or Ryan O'Connor on YouTube. And if you don't know how to get there, I always put the link in the description, or the link to my link tree in the description, which has all my links. If it's not in the description now, for instance, on Twitch, I put it in the description after the show. But yeah, there was a while where me and my little brothers, when I was going to art school, I found out that my little brothers were making little movies on their iMac that my mom got like in 2010 or something, 2011, and I found out that they were making little movies, and they were doing it pretty well without me, by the way. I mean, well enough. It was for like like an 8 and a 10-year-old, and I thought it was really fun what they were doing. So I started helping them after they had made a few videos. They made this cool. I'll have to post that one next. The crap one, where they made a piece of music called Crap about having to go to the bathroom, but our sister was sleeping in the bathroom. They made it like a rap song or something called Crap. And that was the first. I found out that they were they had made the piece of music in Fruity Loops, and then and it's pretty decent for, like I say, made by an 8 and 10-year-old or whatever they were at the time. And I found out they were making a music video, and that was how I found out that they were doing that stuff, because they had made a few videos at that point. And I asked if I could start helping them. I mean, I just, even the job interview one, you can see it's kind of crummy quality, but it's not terrible, and it's pretty funny, I thought. And yeah, I think I'm going to do the crap video. And most of these were barely shared on Facebook, if anything, with family members, and that was it. They never really saw the light of day beyond like my aunts and uncles. So my sister recently salvaged them from obliteration to time, and I want to start posting some of them on my YouTube channel. Let's see. Make Petunia's tail here. Her little wisp. Just how somebody with a speech impediment might say lisp. I don't know why I said that. I can't believe I'm almost done inking this book after all this time. Like how close to done I am. I've only got one page to do left. So I think it's, what day is New Year's Day? Hey, What Love? How's What Love doing? I hope you had a good holiday, good Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah. It's all in the past, so whatever it is. I hope you had a good one. What was I doing? Oh, yeah. Seeing what day New Year's Day is, because... Yeah, it's Sunday. Sunday! I hope that works out. I'm going to try and... I thought it was Saturday for some reason. I'm going to try and start... I'm going to take my pages in somewhere and start scanning them in. So I can start coloring this book. And also making black and white 24-page issues in the meantime. At least that's the plan. So since Spotify did the what do you call it? The wrap up thingy this year, I was a little underwhelmed by how predictable my my like most listened to stuff was. Here, let me get this cord out of my face. Just this cord kind of dangling a little low. Yeah, I'm gonna start coloring it. Hopefully I can color it on here to some extent, but I don't know if I'll color all of it on here, like I inked all of it on here. But I'll keep doing art on here for sure, and I'll definitely. I'm still going to be on here all the time, no matter what I end up doing. But I'll keep. I'm going to try and color and show any other processes I go through with this book. I'm going to walk through it on here on this channel. Still, so if it's I don't know. I just don't know what it's like to stream my screen and stuff while I'm working. So if it's a weird workflow or something, I don't know. Maybe I will color it all on here. I don't know. But I still got to figure out my process. So I'm working on like a practice project in the meantime to figure out how to color comics. What was I saying? Was that it? Was that what I was saying? I don't know. This isn't the follow-up page. This isn't the very next page to what I was drawing. Yes, the one I drew yesterday. There's a page between. I just haven't drawn that one yet. This one I only had to redraw one panel from what I originally had. So I figured I could just get 2 pages out in 2 days. But yeah, this is going to be a fully colored book by the time I'm done. But the plan is something I figured a while back was, like I say, it wasn't written to be 24-page issues, but I might see about making black and white 24-page issues available somewhere, at least for a little while I'm working on the colors, just to have something to show after a year and a half, or however long it's been. Yeah, like a year and a half inking this. I'm excited. I'm going to start scanning them in and coloring them, digitizing them, cleaning them up. Oh, I know what I was saying before. So I since Spotify did the wrap up thing that they do every year, I guess. I was a little underwhelmed with how predictable my most played stuff was. So I think what I'm gonna so what I've been doing with Spotify, whenever I put it on, I just play some album by an artist I like. Like yesterday, I listened to. I'd never listened to a full album before. I'd only listened to a couple songs by Adamant. So I knew I liked. Let me pull up Spotify here. I knew I liked the song called "Apollo 9" by Adamant. So I played the album "Viva La Rock." I'd also heard the title track to that, but I don't think I heard the rest of the album. That was really good. And what else? I listened to "Fever to Tell" by the Yeah Yeah Yeahs today, which I'd never listened to. I really like "Show Your Bones" by the Yeah Yeah Yeahs. So I wanted to listen to. I'd heard a handful of tracks off of "Fever to Tell," but I'd never actually listened to the album before. So for the past like couple weeks, like every time I open up Spotify, I just play some different album. Maybe something I normally wouldn't always listen to. Or I don't know, I'm just trying to change it up on Spotify. Trying to throw its idea of me, make it stumble. So I did my part of my least favorite chore yesterday, my laundry. Oh, why and how did I start my comic? Well, it started with I've told this before. Then again, I've said everything I've ever said before on this channel. It started with my buddy Ben. So I was going to art school. Well, I had just finished art school for animation, and my buddy Ben was in a video games major, and he had a final, and he lived like maybe like 5 minutes from me. He had a video games final where he was supposed to make a playable level, and it had to have like a few like basic. It wasn't anything elaborate, but it had to have a few basic like video game things. Like you had to have a bad guy, and you had to have a character, and the character had to run and jump, and it had to pick up an object and open a door, like pick up a key or something, open a door into another level or into another room or something, and it had to like be able to get like coins or something. So he called me up when he got the assignment, and he was because he knew I was a big character guy, and he was like, "Hey, I have to do this assignment for my video games final. Do you have any characters that I could use for it?" And when he said that, I basically just heard, "Would you like to make a video game? Would you like to design a video game?" Is kind of how I took that. And after I got off the phone with him, I immediately like made up, like within half an hour, I had done a dozen drawings of Bonehead, and I figured out like who he was. Like I knew he worked at a poison factory. He was a bucktooth skeleton that worked at a poison factory. I'd made up his boss, and I'd made up these bug bad guys. And I knew he would throw like vials of poison, like flasks of poison, and that he would reach into his eye and throw them at bugs and stuff. And I kind of made up all the kind of like basics of kind of what a game would be, and then I like ran over to his house to show my my little notebook to him, and I helped him for that project. I helped him do the animations. I did like a dozen animations for Bonehead. I had a run animation, a jump. I still got to show these off on my. I found them somewhere. It's like the file is a little broken and messed up, but I still have the animation files somewhere. I'll have to get it in such a way I can show it off. But yeah, I did a run, jump, crouch. I did a death animation. I did the attack where he reaches into his eye and throws out the flask of poison. I did like an idle, like a bounce kind of animation, which I don't think he worked into the gameplay. And I tried to make backgrounds for him, but I didn't get far enough along with those by the time his assignment was due. But yeah, they were in the gameplay. They just weren't that impressive. But oh, and I made like little bug bad guy animations too. I had this like little beetle thingy, and it had these like snappy jaws, and then its like wings would flitter on its back every so often as it walked. And then there were these like slug things too, these like lamprey looking slugs. But that's why I made up Bonehead, because I wanted to make a video game with my buddy. And I designed a whole level like on notebook paper, like kind of crude across like 4 pages of notebook. And it was just like when it became clear to me that he wasn't gonna make a full-fledged game with me, because I can't do it. I can't make a game. I need a team of help, or at least like some dedicated guys to make a game. I know nothing about how to make a game. But if you tell me what I need, I can make drawings and animations. I can make, and I swear I can make good animations if I need to. But what else? But yeah, when it became apparent that it wasn't going to be a game anytime soon, I decided to. I started thinking about what I could do with my Bonehead characters, and I was still making up more about Bonehead in the meantime, like his buddies, his girlfriend, and I decided I wanted to do a cartoon of it, and I wrote a cartoon. Then a few years later, I animated it by myself, and I did half the voices in it. But I just liked the character so much that I kind of wanted to do a proper story with him. And so this is my attempt at making a comic. And comics was something I always tried to do. In high school, I started a kind of an embarrassing comic called The Frightening Niz, about this guy who was kind of slipping into madness. And he was like seeing things, and like creatures in his head were like taking over his life. But I didn't get too far on that. And I was just doing that on like copy paper with I was using, instead of any like real art tools, I was using these Pilot Precise V5 pens, which are like super extra fine tip pens for writing. So that was the first comic book I tried to start. I don't know how many pages I did. I probably did like maybe 10. And I don't know how long I wanted it to be. Actually, I do know how long I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be, I'll tell you, I wanted it to be 5 24-page issue comics. So what is that? 24 times 5? I wanted it to be about 120 pages. But I got 10 done. Something like that anyway. And I started a different comic called Moon Valley that I'm probably going to go back to once I'm totally done with Bonehead. Oh, I did an early version of Moon Valley called My Neighbor's a Psychopath. I did a 24-page comic. It was just something I was always doing, and I really wanted to do a Bonehead big story. Like, I could never animate like the Bonehead movie. On my phone now. I could never do the Bonehead movie. I could never animate a Bonehead movie by myself. It would just take me years and years and years and years and years and years. But I could make a comic in a reasonable amount of time. And that's the cool thing comics has to offer, is like, it's storytelling, you're drawing, you're designing characters, you're designing all kinds of stuff. You're making a story from scratch, start to finish, in way less time than it takes to film or animate a movie. So whatever you want to happen, it's like, I kind of feel like it's your best shot at getting a movie out in front of people quickly, like in a reasonable amount of time. Because it takes forever to make anything, but a comic, I don't know. And if you're not even that particular about how nice it looks, I've seen some real funny comics or some real good comics that were just like kind of slapped on the page. So maybe it, it may not even take you as long as this is taking me, because I'm being a little precious about parts of it anyway. Not that I'm the best drawer in the world, but it's just I am trying to take the art of it somewhat seriously, I like to think I have integrity. Trying to put her in front of these background guys by boldening up her line. Put him in front of her by doing the same. I was trying to put tears in her eyes. I forgot. Because she thought she lost him. But, spoiler alert, she didn't. So that's, let's see. But as for how I actually started the process of making a comic, maybe, I guess could be what you were asking. I spent a couple months writing the script. It was like January I started writing my script. I think, yeah, it was 2020. January 2020, I started writing the script. And I think by the end of March, I think I was done with it. I remember COVID rumblings were starting to happen. And the time had come for me to start, or maybe January was when I started thumbnailing. Because I remember everybody was freaking out about COVID. And the internet kept trying to suck me into just watching it all day. And I was like, I can't let myself get sucked in. I got a book to draw. And I spent like maybe better part of 2020 penciling all the pages of Bonehead. Probably the majority of 2020 penciling the pages. So I wrote the script. It was I think it was like 112 page script at first, and then I whittled it down to a solid 100 pages because I wanted it to be about 200 pages. I didn't want it to go too far over that. Surprise, surprise, I went over it by 50 pages inevitably. But yeah, so it was like a 113 page script, 112 page script, something like that. And I kind of edited it until it was an even 100 pages. And then I wasn't even totally satisfied with the dialogue by the time I finished writing it. But I was like, I can always, like, when I'm working on the digital pages, like when I'm typing up I have until I type it into the book to perfect the dialogue. So I wasn't too worried about the dialogue being perfect, as long as it seemed like the story was there. And then once I was satisfied with the script, the next thing I did was I don't have them all in front of me, I just have some, but I went through the script. I wish I had some of that in front of me. But I went through the script, and page by page, I'd go through line by line, and I'd figure out where the page break was in the script, and I'd be like, okay, I can't have much more than 6 panels of action on the page. So like sometimes I do, sometimes I have less. Like this page only has 4 panels. Boom, 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 boom. I would go through the entire script and just figure out where I wanted my page breaks, knowing that I didn't want too many more than 6 panels on any given page. And I would kind of go through sentence by sentence and kind of figure out where my panel breaks would be and where a good page break would be. And I went through the entire script like that. And then like looking at where I marked off the panel breaks and the page breaks, I would kind of make like these tiny page layouts on index cards, 3x5 index cards. So they'd look something like that, like real rough, real sketchy. But I'd get like real rough layouts, and then I would blow up. I'd scan those 4 at a time, like I'd lay them out on my scanner like this. Page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, and I'd face down and scan them. And then I would bring them into Photoshop. Typically I would take 2 rows of comic on these note cards, and I'd blow it up 300%, print it out, and then I'd take like this row and the top row of the next page and put them, like line them up on Photoshop, blow that up 300, print it out. And at about 300%, it would kind of fit to a regular size of copy paper. Let's see. And then I'd kind of take those blown up thumbnail, and I would kind of clean them up, and I would trace them with a light table. Let me see if I got it here. Yeah, you can get one of these light tables pretty cheap on Amazon. It's got 3 different settings. It's just used for tracing, like can you see through it as well as I can? See? And I would trace my thumbnails into like a sketchbook like this, and I would kind of clean up my crummy thumbnails into the sketchbook. So I have 3 Bonehead sketchbooks for this book. Eventually I abandoned it, like before the last like 20 pages or something, or 30 pages, I don't know. But I abandoned that extra step. So I would clean them up in the sketchbook, and then I would trace them from the sketchbook onto the actual page. So eventually I started cutting out the middleman of the sketchbook altogether toward the end of the book, and just started tracing the blown thumbnails right onto the page and cleaning them up there, and then they kind of get a second cleaning up when I was inking. But yeah, so that's how I penciled my book. I was just tracing my scribbles and trying to make them nicer as I went. And at least for the most part, that's how I did it. And now, and this is, and I inked almost, well, not almost, I inked the entire book on live streams to kind of keep myself honest, to keep myself from abandoning another project. Because I feel more like it's an obligation if I'm saying I'm going to be here every day making this book. If I tell people I'm going to ink my whole book on stream, then I'll just feel guilty if somebody ever goes, "Hey, I thought you were inking a whole book on stream." So I was very public about that with all my friends and family. I was like, "Yeah, I'm making a comic, and I'm streaming the whole thing." And I remember my grandma would be like, "But someone's gonna steal it." I was like, "You know what? I have proof that I drew it. I have proof that I drew it." Or maybe they'll steal the, I don't know, the story or whatever. But it's like, how much of the story am I giving away just by drawing it? Maybe, to some extent I am, but I don't know. It's not as good a story if you're not holding it in your hands and reading it, I feel like. Well, I don't know. I just wasn't worried about stealing. People stealing it. But I just got to have faith that I can try. I can do it better than some hack who's going to steal it. If some hack is going to steal it, then they can't back it up like I can, because I'm actually using my talents. So that's just kind of how I looked at it. I think I started to forget the tears again. There's a person here. Let's see. Her channel, viewers, followers, views, chatbots. The price is lower. Nah, I'm good. I appreciate it, but not my style. Let's see. Here's Petunia. Dang, this is like yesterday. It took me 45 minutes to do the first 2 pages yesterday, or the first 2 panels yesterday too. At least there's only 4 panels today. And I think there's going to be a lot of white in this one. This bottom one, this big old bottom one. So maybe it'll go faster than the 2.5 hour stream yesterday. Okay. Yeah, that little video of me and my brother, the job interview thing, the Latchkey Kids thing, that uploaded really fast. When I've uploaded stuff to YouTube in the past, it took forever. That was surprising. Screen blanked out for a second there. It makes me nervous. But I've always wanted to make comics, you know. My first comic influence. I was never into like Marvel or DC or anything, but my first comic influence was Jonan Vasquez when I was in middle school. And I became aware of him because of Invader Zim. Look, Bonehead has kind of a pointy head like Invader Zim, doesn't he? But I mean, that's not why he has a pointy head, but I'm sure Jonan's pointy, angly style kind of had some influence on my drawing to some extent. But what was I saying? Yeah, he was my first comic influence. I was really into Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, and I had the collection of Squee. My favorite were the two I Feel Sick books, and those were in full color, and I just really liked that. And what else? What other comics did I read? Not really anything else for a long time. My sister just sent me something. But when I was in college, when I was in art school, my buddy Zach sent me. She sent me something to do with Homestar Runner. My sister. Anyway. Oh, I guess there's a Strong Bad video game for the PS5. That's what she's telling me. That's cool. That was one of the coolest things of my youth, like middle school, discovering Homestar Runner, and they would just upload new cartoons every Monday. They've started uploading. It went away after Flash died for a while, but they're kind of sporadically doing stuff again. I think they work for like the Disney Channel, and they've got like real animation work, like studio animation work or something like that nowadays. But they do new cartoons every so often. But anyway, when I was in art school, my buddy Zach was like, "Hey, the guy who created Earthworm Jim has a web comic out." I never really cared for any web comic I'd seen. I'd read some Casey Green, his what was it called, The Gun Show at the time. And I follow him on Instagram, and he does something called funny online animals on there. It's all basically the same stuff. He had one called, I forget, but Casey Green I like. He actually did an issue of the Invader Zim comic a while back. But other than that, and that's real good stuff that guy does. But otherwise, I never really read any online comics. I never found them appealing. I read a little bit of Axe Cop. I thought that was interesting. And but when my buddy told me that the Earthworm Jim guy had a web comic, I was really interested because I had the first Earthworm Jim game when I was a kid, and I thought that was a great game. It was just super hard. I was just really infatuated with it though for a while, and I've never really been good at video games to begin with though, so I didn't even know it was a super hard game. I thought I was just really bad at it, like I was all video games. But when my buddy told me that, I was like, well, I got to check that out. And it was called Rat Fist, and that's kind of how I found out about Doug Naples stuff. And so after I finished that, read more by him, and I picked up Creature Tech from the library, and I was just really blown away by that. The end surprised me, and I was just sold. Like after I finished that, I was like, why did I even like Rat Fist? Because comparatively, it's kind of trash. It's kind of junk compared to Creature Tech. But yeah, and I was really fascinated with his stuff, and it was like a few years later I saw him inking he was digitally inking a comic called Jacobot that he still hasn't released on Facebook, and so I would watch him do that every day, and then he kind of moved to YouTube, and I watched him ink Bigfoot Bill, and then the first Earthworm Jim book, and then the second Bigfoot Bill, and then the second Earthworm Jim book. And then his channel was obliterated for a while, but he's starting to do art stuff on YouTube again. But after watching him, I felt like I'd learned so much. I wanted to try and do it. Like I wanted to like make a big comic. I mean, I'd already started a big comic, but I wanted to I hadn't been using I'd been 50 pages into that without like doing any of these like learned techniques I'd kind of picked up or learned things that I gained from watching his channel. So I kind of decided to set that aside and try starting Bonehead. Because at that point I was more interested in the Bonehead character than my other characters anyway. So that's kind of also how I got started with Bonehead, the Bonehead comic. And now I'm almost done inking the entire thing. So I'll probably work on penciling the last page tomorrow at some point. I mean, not on stream, but I'll ink something in my sketchbook tomorrow. Is the plan. And should be able to finish the last page before the new year. And then New Year's Day, I'm going to drag myself into I almost said Kinko's, which doesn't exist anymore, I don't think, into a FedEx office to start scanning these pages so I can color them. Hooray! Wait, is somebody texting me? Oh, I think it was just reminding me that my sister texted me because I didn't open it. Yeah, I don't have a scanner big enough to scan these 11 by 17 pages. I thought I would find one by now that I could afford, or I'm sure I could find one that I could afford, but the thing is, do I want to spend that much money on a scanner? But it looked like to scan 250 pages over time, because I'm not doing them all at once, obviously, but to scan 250 pages at FedEx office, it would cost about $60 total. I was like, you know what? That is not a lot, honestly. I can swing it. Because I tried my local library, and I tried 2 libraries, and it wasn't a successful endeavor at either. So hopefully FedEx will yield better results. Gotta put your money where your britches are. No. Put your money where your wallet is. No. Maybe? That sounds right. Put your money behind your ideas. Put your money in a bank. Put your money in a trust fund. And now I really don't know what I'm saying. In terms of what I was trying to say. I stuck my hand in wet ink. Got a lip. Okay. As long as I don't smear it around the page. Are there any other comics I read? I know I picked up a bunch of things here and there, but nothing really caught my attention. What else do I have here? I picked up a Hellboy book that I still own. I don't know. I couldn't get into the the writing. I didn't know what I was reading. It was just like, I don't know, over my head or something. I'm trying to see if I got anything else. Something funny. You know what I found since Rob Schraub? I liked Scud the Disposable Assassin. He's got the whole 24-issue book collected in Scud the Disposable Assassin, the whole shebang. It was like, clearly when he was writing it originally, I think him and Dan Harmon wrote different issues, and other guys, Monty Carter, a bunch of friends of theirs, wrote different issues. And it was kind of like all over the place kind of stuff. And I don't think it ever had a proper ending in mind. But then he decided one year, a few years ago, that he was going to finish the book. And he was going to do it across. I think he was originally going to do it in one last issue. And then it kind of blew up and became 4 more issues. And now, like, all 24 issues are collected in Scud the Disposable Assassin, the whole shebang. And I really liked the way he ended it. It was kind of simple. The way he kind of summed it up was like, I thought, pretty clever. And I just liked the villain in it. Scud the Disposable Assassin, I'd recommend. I really like Rob Schraub. I think he's amazing. I like the biggest thing that caught my imagination was his drawless animation, like Twigger's Holiday on Channel 101. It's 5 episodes of this 5-minute show called Twigger's Holiday, starring Rob Schraub as Twigger. And then also the music video he made for Death Cab for Cutie. And when I say drawless animation, what he does is he just takes like toys and like puts cardboard all over them, and just, he takes toys that move a lot and he'll like dress them up in cardboard and marker and like toothpicks and stuff, and just make them like crazy looking, like almost like Tim Burton-y kind of bizarre creations. And he just, because they're like moving toys, they just look like crazy cartoon characters. And that's I think best exemplified by his Death Cab for Cutie video for Crooked Teeth that he made. I love that video. But yeah, he's the guy that made Scud the Disposable Assassin. He's worked on Community. He's worked on the Mini Project X stuff a lot. He's worked on Workaholics. I'm trying to think of what else he's worked on. The Sarah Silverman program. He was a big shot on that. It's like a core shadow here. And then we've got his hand. I missed the light beam there. Let me get my white. There's like light shooting through this part. I think I was supposed to leave that white. There was something else earlier. Oh yeah, her hair. I messed up here. So this is my Presto Jumbo Correction Pen. Look, the decal is sliding off from my sweaty hands or something. Presto Jumbo Correction Pen from Pentel. That's good. I also use these, but these kind of seem to be unreliable sometimes. The Sakura Jelly Roll pens. Let's see now. I see artists use them, and they don't have nearly as hard a time as I do sometimes when I'm using those Jelly Roll pens. They just don't get enough coverage of the ink, like when you're trying to cover it up. Trying to do like a rim light around her dress. It's because the light is coming from the front of them. So it's going to show around the edges a bit. Okay. Here's her head. Here's her bow. She had it on a face. These shapes are nice and very iconic, like very very simple, and they convey what they need to real nice and easy. Like her eyes and her mouth here, I like them. I'm not always the most effective artist, but sometimes I do stuff that I think works well. I hear the office playing downstairs. All right. And the ink on my brush is getting a little too thick for my liking, especially if I'm going to be doing these finer lines here. In fact, yesterday I used one of these pens for the electricity. I think I'm going to do that again. This is just a Micron pen. Which I was saying yesterday, I didn't like when I was a kid. I hated Micron pens. I didn't like to use them because if I stopped, it would like bleed. It would like bead up. So every time you could see every spot where you stopped with the pen, because there would be like a dot, and that drove me crazy. But I don't know. These ones haven't been doing it with me. Maybe they've upped their. Maybe they've made great advancements in Micron pens. But it's like I do use these technical pens. Like I use all kinds of different brands, Copic multiliners, Panda Fly. I don't know. I've got a bunch of. I've got like 7 different brands in this drawer right here. These ones I just got for Christmas from my mom. Because honestly, I never would have bought the Micron brand. Just because they used to do that to me when I was in like middle school. I have a cousin who swears by Micron. And he's a really great artist. And he's always loved Micron pens. And I always thought he was a nut for liking them. I mean, I would see his art and it was like he was doing something right. And mine always, whenever I used Microns, it looked like crap to me. But like I say, I'm not having problems with them now. Let's see, there's... I also use pens like this. Like I used a number 8. This is number 2 that I'm currently using for the electricity. I used a number 8 for my borders. I did that with a ruler. My panel breaks. And I also used the number 8 for the sound effects. And throughout this book, I've used like number 8, number 5, just the bigger end ones. And yeah. So I usually do that before I start inking the rest of the page. Proper. With the brush. Okay. And then electricity. I'm like zoning out. I'm getting really into this. Reminds me of one time when I was a kid. So whenever we had like corn and mashed potatoes for dinner, I always liked mixing the corn into the mashed potatoes. And one time I was just like zoning out, and what I was doing was like I was just making it as even as possible, and like evenly spread throughout the, the mashed potatoes on my plate. And I think I was just like, you know, just in the process of doing it, I started like just getting really into it and kind of zoning out, not paying attention to what I was doing. And my dad noticed me after a while. I was probably doing it for seriously like 10 minutes. My dad's like, you know, that's probably about good. Maybe you want to eat that sometimes. And I was like, I I've made a spectacle of myself. He's like, Earth to Ryan. Is this Close Encounters of the Third Kind? Let's see, is that everything? I'm just gonna make this wind over here. That's all the lightning. Okay. I'm probably going to go back to this pen for these streaks. I'm probably also going to use a ruler, which I almost never do in this book. Okay. Oh, hold on. Hang on. I'm sticking my hand in the wet ink. I kind of smudged it a little bit. How long have I been going? Hour 18? All right. I got a lot done in 20 minutes. Wasn't I like 45 minutes in way back here? So while I was reworking this first panel, which was something else originally, the way I originally had the script, while I was reworking that before I started streaming, I was watching Venture Brothers. I've been rewatching Venture Brothers, which started with I saw that HBO Max had the Christmas special up, which they did between the first and second season. And I hadn't seen that in forever, and I was looking for something Christmassy to watch anyway. And so I watched that, and then it started launching into other episodes. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to rewatch the series. And it's always fun to rewatch the Venture Brothers. They've got... It was supposed to be season 8 originally, and then it got canceled and then picked back up for a movie. So they're going to do a movie, and then Venture Brothers is over, sadly. But Venture Brothers is so good. See, I was saying earlier with comics, I never got into Marvel or DC. I never even watched really any of the movies either. Just never really been into that kind of stuff. But Venture Brothers does it so, like, I'm into Venture Brothers. And that's exactly the kind of stuff they do, but it's all kind of like everybody's a failure and a bastard and a psycho and a monster. It's just and it's really funny. Really well written. And it gets better every season. So if you haven't watched Venture Brothers, I recommend it with 2 thumbs up. And if you have checked it out and you weren't feeling it, I don't know, give it another chance. Get past... I'll say this. Watch the whole first season. Give it the whole first season. And know that I'm telling you that it gets better looking. It gets better. It gets more exciting. And they do funner things with it. I love the Venture Brothers. I hope that after the movie, Jackson Public and Doc Hammer do something else together, because oh man, I love them so. Trying to do these, like, I think they're considered Kirby dots. Though I am not using them effectively, I don't feel properly. I don't know if that's gonna be too busy. I don't know. I don't know how to do the Kirby dot thing. Anyway, let's get these. Well, There's this sidewalk line. Make it look like some rocks are on the ground that are having a shadow cast on them now. There's shadow cast behind them. Oh, I'm not showing it on screen, my bad. Cast a shadow in my direction. Cast a shadow in my direction. Cast a shadow in my direction. So I'm just trying to do like a little. I knocked my phone over a second ago, by the way, is what that was. Okay, I think that's enough of that. All right, I'm gonna take the same number 2 micron and my little ruler here. So everything's kind of spitting out of this kind of center focal point, more or less. It's a little off kilter, and I don't think that's bad in this instance. Let's see here. It's better if I can see where the lines are coming and going from, so I put the ruler on the other side of them. Oh, I think I just drew that through her hand. Yeah, I'll have to erase that. No matter. Oh, crumbs. Crumbs! My ruler moved on me. Ah, crud. And I think I'm gonna do like I think I'm gonna take my white pen and do like line breaks with some of the things that these lines are intersecting with, just to kind of like uh, kind of clarify, help clarify. You'll see what I'm talking about. Like when it intersects with the door, I'll do like a little white to break the line so it separates the light beams from the door. Because sometimes if you don't do like little things like up here, I was trying to make her outline thicker to separate her from these background figures and kind of make his outline thicker to separate him from the. Because if you don't make little, if you kind of don't do anything to clarify separate shapes, sometimes it kind of gets hard on the reader to instantly see what's going on. And the worst thing you can do as a visual artist is confuse your audience with what they're looking at. Right? You know what? I might even do a thicker line weight on the outside of these beams. So I might go over some of these lines again with a thicker pen. I think that might be a good idea. Cast a shadow in my direction. Cast a shadow in my direction. Cast a shadow in my direction. It's a Canadian girl garage band kind of outfit from Canada, Vancouver in the 90s that I really like, called Cub. They've got a lot of great songs. They're short, sweet, cute, cutesy kind of songs. Sometimes they're grungier. But yeah, I love that band. I found out about them, like most music that I discovered, between 2002 through 2010, through They Might Be Giants, because they do a cover of Cub's song New York City on Factory Showroom. So I checked them, and I love Cub. Got a lot of great music. not worrying about making these evenly spaced, just because it's supposed to be a little chaotic. Normally, for most stuff, I usually don't even worry about making the lines all that straight. Because it kind of, I don't know. I like having my artist hand, my tremory artist hand kind of show through in the artwork a little bit. But I think for this, to kind of show illustrate the force of this blast, I think it's a good idea to have it be straight lines. And for the spacing of these, I'm kind of relying a lot on just what I sketched. I can do that line a little bit. I don't like how I accidentally made it come to a point down here. Right there. So I'll probably throw some white in there. This is going to be a tangent. Okay, I avoided it. It was going to go directly into the point of that W, and I did not want that. That would mess up that clarity I was talking about earlier. When you have lines from separate elements kind of meet at perfect points and stuff like that, it's no good. It's what they call in design a tangent. And it's one of 4 things I know about comics. You don't want tangents in your art. This is the door, but it's kind of like making this look clunky. I don't know. I'll even bend a line in kind of a screwy way sometimes just to avoid a tangent. I'm manipulating this lightning because I had it come to a funny point there even. There we go. I don't want the unrelated points to meet perfectly. If they don't have to. If I can help it. Oh, this is the job that never ends. And it goes on and on. My friends. Some people started singing it. No. You know what actually is the song that never ends? I found out on Christmas. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. I did that karaoke. My family and I were doing karaoke on Christmas. And I did Mr. Grinch, or You're a Mean One, or whatever it's called. And yeah, it was so fun to sing. And I was doing my best, whatever the guy is from Tony the Tiger, who did Tony the Tiger, who sings that song. I was doing my best deep voice, and it was a blast and well received, I think. But it was like every time I thought the song was over, it just kept going. So the other thing I'll do to avoid tangents is kind of like what I'm doing here a little bit, which I was talking about doing with the white pen. Was I was breaking the lines. I'm starting and stopping the line short of where it intersects. Let's throw another one in there. I think that was the only Christmas song I heard during karaoke on Christmas, surprisingly. And that almost wouldn't have happened except my brother was like, "You got to do it. You got to do. You're a mean one." It's like, oh, okay. I was like, I agree now that you bring it up. Hold the phone. There we go. Am I even on screen? I think I am. No, wait. I made this go through her hand, so I should take the line there. I think I'll have to clean that up. Okay. How do we feel? How do we feel about it? I'm gonna make this. It looks like that curves in way too crooked. So, do that. Jumbo correction pen time. Just feel more confident about how that covers up my ink. Okay, and then I think I'm gonna close this pen. I'm gonna get that. How about 5? And go over some of these lines with a 5. It might not even be as thick as I'd like. I'm gonna use the 8. Here it is. Now there's 2 lines really close to here that I think will just be better filled in as one thick line. And then there's this. I'm seeing again that I drew a line across her hand that I didn't mean to, so I should probably fix that while I'm still thinking about it. This one was kind of scratchy too, with a couple lines kind of running into each other. I think that might be about where I got the point where I got the idea to do like the outline on some of these. I could just kind of see it in my head, and it would solve that problem at the same time. Go, 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 go for 1,000 years. Now Cub is stuck in my head, and it's all your fault. I think the first other song other than New York City I heard by Cub was My Flaming Red Bobsled. I really like that one. My flaming red bobsled, my flaming red bobsled. I'm trying not to make that a point like that. See if I can fix that. Nerds. Ah, shoot! See, this is what I mean. It's like sometimes I can't get this to work when I need it. It's a little too wishy-washy about doing what I need it to do. If I do this, the problem with doing this sometimes is it's just too much. It's too much of a big boy. Okay, well, just have to go over my lines all together again. So let's see. I don't know. I think it's better at least. I'll have to convince myself that. I drown in your pool. I'm hot and you're cool. Etc. try a different one. Then I'm going to do this one. Okay. How do we feel about that? And then I'll take my little Presto. I'm going to go around. Do a little break there. Do a little break along this edge. I'll do little breaks along the door where it intersects with the door. I'm going to do it on the same side of the line, if that makes sense. Like on the left side of the line to kind of keep it uniform. Oops. A little clunky. That's why they call me clunky old Ryan O'Connor. Never crying out loud. There we go. All right, where? And does it do that? Okay. I think that about does it. Yeah, you know what? I did this wrong. I shouldn't have done it there. That was where I started doing this, and I don't think I did it right. Because I should have followed through this way, not this way. That doesn't make sense. Because the light is passing it this way. So, what I say, it's the left side. Oh, I was like using this. Press it back up. Okay, art is glamorous until it ain't. Gotta have skill and the patience of a saint. I'm making this up. I made that up. I have to cry it out. These pens, I swear. They're like, I feel like they're good for a second and then they're kind of useless. You know? Alright, you know what? I'm gonna do this clunky thing, big meaty clunky thing, and then I'll just re-ink around it. But in truth, I just want to be done. You know? You know? So the streak is actually going to carry through. I'll let that dry a little bit before I mess with that. I have no patience to let stuff dry, really. It's probably not a good thing to not have patience. I'm going to get a thicker pen because this number 2 is probably one of the more quickly to get ruined with stuff like what I'm doing. Okay. That looks like a wreck. Go. So I had this kind of line carry through. It gets wider to the end. I had this line carry through. It gets wider to the end, but I don't think it looks bad. At least it looks better now. And if I really need to, I can clean that up a little better in Photoshop. But I think this page is done. That's what I think. Not that what I think matters. Bwom. Okay. Folks, there's only one page left to pencil and ink. And then I am done inking this book. And then we're on to colors. So tomorrow I think I'm just going to do some sketchbook drawing because I don't think I'll have that page ready in time for a stream, and my time is kind of limited tomorrow. So, but I'll see you tomorrow if all goes according to plan. Take care, everybody. Goodbye. This has been Ink the Book Show. Click the links in the description. If you don't see a link in the description now, usually after I end the broadcast, there will be a link tree with my social media, my YouTube channel, my Twitch channel, my Discord, my TeePublic, all that fun stuff. And in the meantime, a word of advice. Think for yourself. That's a good one. I've heard that before.